everyone. Okay, today I'm joined by the wonderful Pierce Brown.
Wonderful.
And
What's
I'm
me?
gonna be asking him some questions.
Interrupting.
You interrupt as much as you want.
All right, fair.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, so how's the experience of writing Iron Gold different to writing the first trilogy? Obviously, everyone's older. You've got 3 more new points of view.
Yeah, much more complex. Much more complex because I'm channeling characters, voices, who I might not have identified with at various points in my life. And so you have an embittered older soldier, and I've never been a 45-year-old man. And I had, yeah, I know, it's surprising, right? I'm getting there. And you have Lyria, who is a 16-year-old girl, and you have Lysander, who is supposed to inherit 18 billion people to rule. And so you have all these characters which I have to find their soul, find their identity, and try to transpose that in unique perspectives on a story. So interweaving the story is very difficult with 4 different protagonists, and I think any author will tell you that writing a single-person narrative is quite different than writing a multi-person narrative, simply because of the matching up the pacing, matching up their stories, making sure they're all going to the same climax, so to speak, or interweaving. Yeah. So it was more complicated because with the Red Rising series, I didn't use outlines. Now often I knew where I wanted to go and how to get there, and who was going to die, the villains, etc., what their arcs were going to be. But with Iron Gold, it required more planning, I would say, more strategy, more strategery.
I was going to ask about that because I know last time I saw you, I think it was you said you were trying to get away with writing the outline on a napkin.
That's
I think
right,
you said my t-shirt at one point as well.
Yeah, well, your t-shirt was probably as good as an outline as I had, yeah.
So yeah, did you not? Well, do you prefer to not be kind of constricted by?
Well, my outline is often my first draft, and the problem is when your books get incredibly long. And the first draft of this was around 800 pages, and it ended up being 600 pages in total. Yeah. And so you write a lot of things that are unnecessary, but that's my way of exploring my characters. Yeah. And of course, I have the threads that go on to Dark Age, and I know the last book is what's going to happen more or less, and so there's more planning, and I am doing a lot of outlines for Dark Age, but I still am very much a pantser at heart. But I, unfortunately, in the maturing of this series, it requires a greater degree of planning than Red Rising did. But no more outlines. No more napkins for me, unfortunately, yeah.
How did you get in the minds of each of the characters? Did you use music? And did you write these stories each of the characters chronologically, or did you write it the whole one character all the way through?
One character all the way through, and then I synced them up in the second or third draft to see where they would be in the story, because they start interacting, obviously. Yeah. And so you need to know where that is, but to capture their voice, you start with one character, and at least I do, instead of being schizophrenic and skipping back and forth between them all. Yeah, because that gets a little chaotic. And so even when editing, I would do one character all the way through to make sure I was getting the intonations of their voice right, structure of their sentences, length of their sentences, cadence, things like that.
Okay. So did you have a sort of playlist of music?
Yeah, to a degree. I still think music is the best way to capture a soul in a way, and so I have to have an identifying soundtrack for each of them so I can tap into their sense of longing, their sense of place, their melancholy spirit, if you will. And so for each character, I have certain songs that I play in order to kind of sink me into that. And my editor actually provided some, although he likes Slayer death metal a lot more than I do. So for his chapter, any chapter features an obsidian, he suggests music that is quite violent. Yeah.
So can we expect any more points of view maybe in future books?
Possibly. However, I'm not going to telegraph who they are.
Yeah.
And
secret.
Yeah, and characters in my books tend to have a short shelf life. So maybe the POVs will be pared down, maybe more will happen, but I don't want to have 16 points of view, The books have never been as dense as Game of Thrones, nor would I want them to be, because I don't think it works for the DNA of the books. But the POVs will have some wiggle room in the next book, because I think there'll be some characters people have been wanting to hear about. Kind of get inside their skulls. But the problem is you can't see how the sausage is made sometimes. So some characters you don't want to be inside their head as much as you think you do.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
Was there a point of view that was easiest or hardest to write? Or
I figured Lyria's would be the most difficult, mostly because of the fact that she has a completely different life experience than I do, but then again, so did Darrow, and so I found myself coming towards her with a little bit of trepidation, but then when I started writing her voice started flowing onto the page, and it started making sense. Now, I wouldn't say she speaks to me, These characters are my friends. They tell me where they're going. No. But I was able to channel her voice more with greater ease than I thought. mostly because I found her so sympathetic and empathetic
Yeah.
in a way, and she goes through some things, and I think that it's easier to identify with her than a lot of the characters in the book because her plight, her difficulties are more grounded in
Yeah.
experiences we might know more about than, say, for instance, being a 7-1 warlord
Yeah.
who's raised a
space
rebellion
war.
on his
Yeah.
shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you always held like an interest in Greek and Roman histories and things? Because they're
Always.
quite a big part
Yeah.
of the, yeah. a lot
Well,
of-
you know, everything that you love kind of goes into a common pot, a cauldron, if you will, and so you kind of dip liberally into that cauldron
Yeah.
to find influences. I was obsessed with the Greeks when I was younger, and the Roman influence came a little bit later on in my life. But when I was, even 10 and 12, I had Greek coloring books. I was obsessed with the Peloponnesian War, with the Trojan War in particular, and when I discovered the Iliad, it seemed as though I'd discovered the piece of literature that had always been waiting for me. And so the Iliad was probably the most influential in terms of kind of seducing me into the mythology side of things. But then there's also silly things like Xena, Warrior Princess, which
Yeah.
I absolutely adored as a kid. My dad wouldn't let me watch because it was so violent, but so I would always wake up early to watch the reruns. I think on like TNT or USA or something like that, and I watched that in Hercules. But I was like Xena a little bit more because it's a little more badass. Hercules was always kind of a sissy. I don't know. It was kind of like a little more of a kidsy show, whereas Xena had some really intense themes.
Oh, wow. And as well, same with like kind of solar system and sciencey
Mm-hmm.
things. That always been an interest. And how do you work out like all this? Like, how long it takes to sort of get between the
Gosh,
planets and all their orbits?
you
And
hope
does
you're-
it take
yeah.
that a long time?
Well,
Like-
you hope you're consistent, by using the engines that you've established in the first books. So you kind of have to use that as a metric, and then also there are more advanced ships, and more ships are being built.
Yeah,
So you kind of
true.
play with it, but it's consistent only by rereading a lot and also trying to keep scrupulous notes, and also your editor correcting you.
Yeah.
So, with the problem is that you can't have a typical fantasy map, where it's like 3 weeks to get to Winterfell. You can't have that because the planets are constant rotation.
Moving,
Yeah, so you try to make it believable without getting too much into the rotation of the planets, because to be honest, it's really hard to track.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? Update the map every 70 pages to show the new rotation? That's kind of ridiculous and hard to do. And so it ends up being something I probably scrutinize way more than anything else in the world. So it's a great question, the first one to ask that, and it's.
Oh, really?
I hope you have a little bit of sympathy, because
Yeah,
the planets are constant
definitely.
rotation. Because in
Yeah.
Star Wars, they're never dealing with planetary bodies in the same area. They're just going to a new solar system every time. If I could go to a new solar system and refresh, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Same thing with the hours of the day, days of the week, and on Luna, obviously, they have basically month-long days. And then on other planets, Venus has 122 day-long day. So they've sped up the rotation of the planets to make it easier, but also make it
Yeah.
easier on the plant life
I
there.
was gonna say, even like the people, like they have bigger eyes and things to do with
Slightly
things,
larger,
yeah,
yeah.
things like that, just details.
It's
that
just little
make
details
yeah.
that makes it more rich, I hope. Yeah.
That's like, it could be completely just made up, and who knows? Like, it sounds real.
Well,
It's the point,
trust
like,
me,
it is,
someone would
yeah.
call me out online.
Well,
yeah,
true,
they
but-
would stalk me down and then complain about their eye size not being large enough or something to bring in the ambient light if they lived on Io. But the thing is, Red Rising has always been more about the drama than about the science
Yeah.
per se. And those are the books I'm attracted to, ones where the characters drive the story forward, and I think that's what makes the Red Rising books a bit different than science
I
fiction in
absolutely
general.
agree,
Yeah, and it's
definitely.
what brings a lot of people, I think, who don't read science fiction into the books.
Yeah, I would definitely say that, because
Yeah.
it's like, cute. It's that
Imagine-
emotion, like, you need
Yeah.
to, like, I find people sciencey things, they go like, oh, I don't understand, so I don't like science.
Well, yeah,
but if you can,
yeah.
the humans, it brings you in a bit
Sure,
more,
and the thing is, I'll spend like 3 pages describing how a graphist works, and my editor will be like, that's lovely, we're not using any of that. Not using any of it. And so I write it all down, I figure it all out, and then none of it makes it into the book.
It's in here
So,
somewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's in some Word file on my computer that would take me like 2 hours to find.
Fine.
And I'd be like, Control F graphist and trying to find
it.
somewhere. But yeah.
And the Sons of Ares comic series came out last year, and we've got the binder coming out March,
Yeah.
I think it is as well. When did the kind of idea, and well, obviously you knew the story of it.
Yeah.
But when did the kind of idea
Well,
of
I
the
like-
comic series?
I like the idea of exploring the same world in different mediums. And the Sons of Ares graphic novel is, Eli Powell, the fantastic artist,
Yeah.
represent his visualization of how the world exists. Red Rising world, it's not my exact vision, and I think that's good. because it helps you kind of explore it yourself. So I get to see a more three-dimensional view of the Red Rising world by seeing it through eyes. It's one of the reasons I like going other people's eyes. It's why I like going on tour. So I get to see it through the eyes of the reader. I get to see their favorite characters are, what their perceptions of the characters are, what they think is happening, what things look like. And so it was fun to get to explore that medium, and I'd always wanted to tell that story. You know, I seeded it in, obviously, through little drops here and there throughout the Red Rising series, what Fitcher's backstory is. But really getting to explore the genesis of the Sons of Ares is something I wanted to do for quite a while.
Because I think there is some kind of extra little bits that you sort of left out.
To
that
a
are
degree, yeah.
included,
Well, I mean,
that
it's almost an infinite world you can explore.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pleasant thing to leave out there for people who want to continue to explore the world and see it from a different perspective.
And would you like to explore like any other stories and like novellas, or are you hoping to sort of explore any side character, side stories, and like TV series that's hopefully being developed?
Yeah, I do want to explore other concepts, but I also don't want to just do the Red Rising world forever, because I have so many other stories I want to write. I have fantasy things I want to write. I have historical fiction. I have more sci-fi, and so I'll have to decide when I'm in the mood. Because I didn't think I was going to do Iron Gold until I was writing the second draft of Morning Star. And I really felt like the story wasn't answered, and there were a lot of things that were left hanging. So exploring Iron Gold and exploring that world was really driven by the fact that I wasn't done with the story. So I suppose I'll see what other gaps I want to fill in later on. Might be fun to explore the Conquering, might be fun to see what Severo was up to between books 1 and 2 on his journey to Pluto, and might be fun to see the rise of the Rage Knight, Lorna Arcos. Yeah,
I think a lot of people would want that as well, yeah. Okay, now we're going to ask some spoilery questions.
All right, hope you guys are ready.
Right, first of all, is Volga going to be okay? Is she gonna
I can't
be
answer
okay?
these questions.
I
thought you were talking about spoiling about Iron Gold. Yeah, spoiling about Dark Age. You're cheating, my dear. It's all right. It's all right. I will professionally not answer.
No, okay.
You know, Volga is near and dear to me, but so was everyone else that perished.
Right.
I don't. You know, the story just speaks to me. It just these characters, they're my friends, and so sometimes the friends whisper in your ear, "I need to die.
I need to die.
Yeah, I need to perish in a horrible fashion." No, so I'm not saying that Volga's been whispering in my ear. I really enjoy her though.
Yeah, she's cute. Now this question is from Piera for
my favorite Australian.
Who is desperate to know what's Severo's second daughter's name.
Oh.
Does she have a name?
Well,
we've got Electra, Diana, Umbo Baby. And then we don't
Everything that I put in the books, most of the stuff I put in the books, I mean to put in the books. Some stuff slips in there on accident because it's 150,000 words. You know, and so that will be revealed in due course. But I don't like building canon too much outside. And we were talking about this a little bit off camera. You know, maybe we weren't. I was talking about this behind your back. I think that it's if I build it the canon off camera, then it gets confusing because why wouldn't I just include it? I'll include things, but I can't include everything all the time for every scene. For instance, do you know how many children the Telemonases have? No, you don't, right? But did you know at the start how many children were in the Weasley family? No, you didn't. Yeah, right.
It's revealed when we need
exactly.
to know. Yeah.
It's revealed when you need to know.
When we need to know. Right.
I always use J.K. Rowling for your way out of a tricky situation.
It's the best. You're in Edinburgh as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I'm playing my audience. Yeah.
Do you follow?
Sorry, Pierre. Sorry. The one thing you wanted before.
You'll find out.
She's gonna cue into minute like 13, and she's gonna be like, "Damn it."
Yeah, I've seen her ask it a lot. She's really I think she wants to know.
Well, how else am I gonna get her to read the next book? Come on. She's gonna skim the whole thing looking for the name. Yeah.
Do you follow the no body, no death rule?
What's that? Oh, no body, no death? No, I don't follow that rule.
Could you have accidentally followed it?
No, I don't follow any rules.
Okay.
You'll see what happens.
Let's just see what happens. Was Lyria's brother's killer Harmony?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That is it.
I mean, there's only one
person
walking around like that. Yeah, it was meant for you to be like, aha! I know that scarred face. Yeah. You evil minx, you. Yeah.
So
she's back. Harmony's hard to kill. She's a cockroach, man.
So in Morning Star, Rourke says, "Do not let Darrow manipulate you into bringing back the Dark Age that came before." Dark Age with capital letters as well.
It's almost like I planned it.
Almost like I planned it.
Maybe.
Foreshadowing. Yeah, I like that.
Every title for every book has been mentioned in the book before.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And even in Red
Smart.
Rising, a lot of I know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
So
proud
is
of
this
that.
going to continue in Dark Age as well? We'll have to try and
the title for the next one's already been named.
the last
For
in Dark Age, but like the last one as well.
For the sixth book, the title's already in the books. Oh yeah, I know.
To find it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's even capitalized.
Oh, it's
Let the-
capitalized. But
Let the treasure hump
But,
again. Watch
yeah.
you guys find it. I'll be like, no, purple throbbing is gonna be the last one.
that would
Purple
suit.
throbbing.
Yeah,
Probably-
like,
I hope not. Revenge of the Violets.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine that? Red Rising goes at purple throbbing. Like,
Yeah, maybe not. Silver Summer. Yeah, Silver Summer.
Seems very happy for like.
You'd be
for the
very
last,
happy, yeah.
Yeah,
Darrow,
I can't imagine the last
Darrow,
book to be
Sever,
that
and the
happy.
Howlers open up a pub. Yeah.
That would just.
It'll be like the last
a
scene.
drunken mess.
The last scene of Harry Potter. They'll be at the Hogwarts Express, sending their kids off as they open up their own pub. Have fun at the Institute.
Have fun.
Electra.
Yeah. But no, that.
Don't eat Pax. I know. You know, Electra might do it.
I like Electra.
Well, yeah, but I like the Jackal and he ate people too.
That's true. Jackal's he's one of my favorite characters.
It's making you worry about my dietary habits, huh? These books will make you go vegan.
Well, it's about how was Darrow and Pax's relationship when like Darrow was home. Is that going to be sort of explored a bit more? In
It will
Dark
be,
Age?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
their
That's another thing. I don't want to.
You can't get
I
into
say
it,
what I
yeah.
mean in the books, yeah, and
Yeah.
so. If
Like it's not like I wouldn't really want you to tell me everything. I want to read it.
Yeah, it's just
so-
hard to explore that because then I might change my mind, and if I say it here, then it'll be canon online, and then
Yeah.
I'll be contradicting myself.
And everyone will be like,
I'm
"You
not
said
falling
this."
into that
Yeah.
trap. No.
It's on camera.
It's like George Lucas. George Lucas didn't discover that Darth Vader was Luke's father until what the fourth rewrite of Empire Strikes Back. You know?
did not know that.
Yeah, right. But it made it
Learn
seem like it
everything.
was all the time. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep my air of mystery about me.
You need an area.
Yeah, I do need an air of mystery.
People coming back.
Exactly.
And then in the last Sons of Ares comic, you see
Are you getting in there?
I'm getting in there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping because as well, you mentioned it. I'm
you
sure
puffed
we
yourself
should
up your
go
own pride.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm ready for this as well. I hope I say her name right as well. Rihanna
Yeah.
is Several's aunt.
Yes.
We meet her in the comics.
Yes.
She survives the comics.
Yeah.
She helps.
Well,
the
there's only
formation.
been six
Six
comics.
comics.
Yeah.
True.
Oh, I know.
She helps form the Sons of Ares.
There's a
but-
couple Sons of Ares in there. Where are they? Yeah.
Where are
indeed?
they?
Where indeed?
Is that all you're gonna say?
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. I'm holding all my cards.
But as well, because I know that obviously Darrow's mom, sister Deanna, Liana, they all have is that sort of red, just a red name, or is it linked?
I mean, the names being read, yeah. So it comes from their mutually shared heritage. Yeah.
Nothing more than
Nothing more than that.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
It was a
for the-
pleasure,
for
as
the
always.
interview.
Of course.
It was fun. But yes, thank you for answering
Even though she
questions.
couldn't get any spoilers out of me.
Damn.
Piera. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.